everyone. I'm Charles Gross.
And I'm Leslie Hoban Blake.
Welcome to Two on the Aisle. Let's talk about ghosts.
Oh, I'm scared.
Well, not quite that kind of ghost.
Yeah, well, I'm not really scared. It's Henrik Ibsen's ghosts, and it's not scary. It is very involved. It is very moralistic. It is very dark because it comes out of a wet, cold Norway life. And it is an all-star cast and a brand new script by an Irish writer by the name of Mark O'Rowe or O'Rowe. I'm not sure which. It's a very good script, by the way. It's one of the best versions of this that I've ever seen. And the all-star cast is quite amazing too. But let's talk about what the play is about first, and then we can talk about the cast. The play is about Mrs. Alving, a widow in the process of building an orphanage in the name of her, quote, sainted husband, and also expecting her son Oswald home from Paris, where he's been painting. It opens with her speaking with Pastor Manders, who is the local priest, or minister, really. They're not priests, but ministers. And they're having a very deep conversation in which we learn about all of these things. And the maid Regina comes in, and Mr. Engstrand comes in. Engstrand is sort of the guy who runs the farm part of the estate. And that's the cast, and we get all of that stuff in the beginning. And we learn that Mr. Alving was not a saint through the play. And we learn that the sins of the fathers can indeed be visited on their sons. Because
there's a very long philosophical, moral discussion, call it what you like, between the widow and the pastor. And frankly, this is the type of writing that influenced many modern playwrights, notably Shaw, notably O'Neill, and Arthur Miller. But although I am thankful for the influence Ibsen had, I've never been a great fan of his work. And I'm listening to the discussions, and throughout it, we see that the quote unquote moral people in this play are not as moral as we had thought. And in fact, that Engstrand, who is an alcoholic and considered to be a ne'er-do-well, turns out to be probably the most honorable person in the cast. And I just found the discussions would take up a good part of the play to be very dull, and I found my attention wandering later on in the play, where the son returns and we learn his issues, his health problems, and he has the scenes with his mother. It's excellent. And the mother is Lily Rabe, and the son is Levon Hawke. I guess you have to be related to someone to be in this play.
And that's not all, because Ella Beatty is the daughter of Annette Bening and Warren Beatty. And obviously, Levon Hawke is the son of both Ethan and Uma Thurman. Mm-hmm. And we're not finished, because Hamish Linklater, of course, is married to Lily Rabe. Poor Billy Crudup is sort of out in the cold. He's not related to any of them.
Doesn't have any family with him.
But getting back to the point of the story, I know you find it boring, and it's really sad, because you don't find Shakespeare boring, so I don't know why you find this boring. And this is a very good adaptation. Trust me, it's one of the easiest spoken. It moves quickly. It moves really well. So I don't get the boredom. It's a very interesting directorial touch in the beginning. Jack O'Brien, who is the director, does a rehearsal. He has them come in, and they're moving around, and they've got scripts in their hands, and they try things, and then suddenly the play begins.
I actually don't do that part, and I'm wondering if he did that because this is a play that calls for very little movement. They're basically sitting at a table and talking, so there's not much that you can do with this action-wise. So maybe he thought he had to get, stretch a little.
I don't think Jack O'Brien worried about stretching ghosts. He's a world famous director of plays and operas. I don't think that he has any problem. I think that this was just something that he tried to do. You had a problem with it because you have a problem with long, talky shows. In general, you do. And as I say, this one is the best spoken, easiest one to listen to, easiest one to get the story from. And the story really is very sad. This poor woman, Mrs. Alving, and her poor son, Oswald, are put upon by it's like Job. The orphanage burns down, and Oswald winds up having syphilis, and Mrs. Alving knows that it comes because his father had syphilis.
One of the things they debate is whether to insure the orphanage. And they conclude, no, if we insure the orphanage, it means we have no faith in God to protect us. I mean, they're ignoring.
And what they don't realize is that God doesn't want an orphanage in the name of a a distinguished person. Anyway,
or maybe just saying the insurance is how I plan to protect you. I don't know.
Well, I don't know what insurance was like that. I think it's interesting that we've seen another Ibsen play last season. We saw Enemy of the People, also with a highly adapted script, but it stayed much closer to the original language. It was a little turgid. It was hard to get through. As I say, Marco Rowe has done a wonderful adaptation of the script. The actors are all equally good in what they have to do. The only one who has any sort of comedic, and not that there is really any comedy. I think Hamish Linklater and Jack O'Brien have put more comedy into Engström than has to be there. He's also a younger Engström than I
usually see. Does need the comic relief, given all the sadness, all the tragedy that is becoming. Also, again, because the play has so little movement, it's almost talking heads. Oh, not unlike what we're doing. We're doing it a little shorter, I hope. But it was interesting until it wasn't. And
well, it doesn't sound like you found it interesting until the second half.
Yes,
at all.
That's for the most part, that is true.
And the beginning, of course, is all of the setup of who's who and who's related to whom and why they're doing what they're doing. Then
I enjoyed that also because, all right, we're getting into something, we're going somewhere, and then it kind of stopped.
What would you give it, Charlie?
I would give this 3 playbills out of 5.
3 playbills.
I
would give it, for the translation, I would give it 4.75. I just think it's heavenly. For the acting, I would give it 4.25. For the production itself, I would give it 4.5. Okay. So I think I'm way up there with my mark.
Oh, yes. You're almost.
I'm not a Russian judge today.
And you certainly enjoyed it, and I'm glad you did.